Are you dealing with a legal issue you would love to resolve? There is help. Welcome to The Law Show Sacramento, brought to you by TravisBlackLaw.com. Join us to create the best path forward for you. Now, here's your host.
Hi, I'm your host, Kimberly Henrie, and I'm here with Travis Black from Travis Black Law, and today we'll be talking with Travis about DUI. Now, before Travis joins us, just a reminder that if you have questions or require assistance, you can reach Travis at TravisBlackLaw.com. That's TravisBlackLaw.com. And you can join us on Facebook at Facebook.com/TravisBlackLawShow. Travis, how are you today?
I'm doing great.
Well, let's talk about DUI. That's something that I think all of us, whenever we get behind the wheel of a car, especially if we've been out at a party or even a drink with dinner, we're always kind of wondering if today's the day we're going to cross the line or get stopped.
Right.
You know, I've gotten to the point where I won't step behind the wheel if I've had a drink in the last day. But
Right.
It's something that concerns a lot of us because that can affect your life, your job. You know, you can end up in jail if it becomes an issue.
Right.
When someone's pulled over on suspicion of DUI, how does that happen? How does that go?
Well, I'm a retired police officer, and actually, one of my specialties was handling DUIs. So normally, what happens is an officer is driving down the street and he sees something that he thinks is suspicious, and oftentimes what he sees is different than a normal person. And so let's say he sees a car driving really slow, maybe a turn blinker on, and he's in the middle of a block and he never turns, maybe wandering back and forth in a lane. A number of things like that. And so the officer gets a suspicion that there might be something wrong. It could be a broken taillight. I mean, he may not even have a suspicion of somebody under the influence, but it might be a broken taillight, a license plate frame missing, anything like that. And so the officer pulls the car over. Then what happens is, he will approach the driver, and they always ask, I don't care where you live, they always ask for your driver's license and registration. Oftentimes, for the officer's safety, he'll explain why he's stopped you. You know, hey, your taillight's out, you were wandering in your lane, etc. During this time period, if he detects an odor of alcohol, he's talking to the person and they're slurring their speech, their eyes are watery, etc., then his suspicion increases, at which time his investigation increases.
And what usually happens at that point? Because there's several things that I've seen or heard of that happen, like the sobriety tests and the blood alcohol levels and all of that. How does that all fall into place?
Well, I'll talk for a minute about what should happen.
Okay.
Doesn't always happen, but what should happen is the officer should then would ask the person to step out of the car and direct them over to the side of the road that's safe. Obviously, you wouldn't want to be doing a field sobriety test out in the lane of traffic, so they're going to direct you to what is safe. Now, that area should be well lit. It should be relatively flat. There shouldn't be any potholes or rocks or anything like that. And then the officer would normally ask you some health questions. Are you under any medication? Do you have any physical problems with your arms, legs, etc.? I have a case right now where I have just a lovely girl that was in the military and in Afghanistan, and she blew out both of her knees, and she needs knee surgery, and she's very unstable. And the officer knew that, but then turned around and had her balance on one leg. So what I'm trying to say is as the officer should take into account the person's medical problems or issues.
Okay.
And then what they'll do is they'll put them through a standardized, and I could spend an hour on this, but there is a standardized field sobriety test. And oftentimes officers don't follow that. They'll do their own tests. And then depending on how that person does, will determine whether they're going to go to jail.
Okay. And then there's the tests, and we've all seen them, touch your finger to your nose and stand on one leg and walk in a straight line. When does a breathalyzer come into play, and should you take one?
Well, what they're going to do, and the officer carries with him a portable, we'll call it a breathalyzer test. It can't be used in court against the person, but what it does is it assists the officer in his investigation, and he will ask you to blow into this apparatus, and it's very small. It's nothing like the breathalyzer test that you would take at the jail.
Okay.
And he'll have you do it twice, and if you come up over .08, then that just furthers his suspicion. And I just want to interject something here, is in California, they're actually trying to lower, and I believe that they are going to lower it to .05.
Oh, wow.
So I kind of laughed a little to myself when you said, everybody worries about it. Well, now it's going to even be, you're going to have to worry a little bit more.
Sure. Wow. So
let me get back to this. So once the officer has determined that the individual is going to be arrested, then the Department of Motor Vehicles and the law requires the officer to offer a chemical test, either blood or breath. And if it's a blood test, they take them to a hospital or similar location where blood is drawn. And if they don't choose that, then they can choose a breathalyzer test.
Okay. So other than the convenience, because this does not sound very convenient at all, but the inconvenience of being pulled over and tested, and then the added inconvenience of maybe being arrested for DUI, those are pretty obvious ramifications. How impactful can this be to somebody to actually be charged with a DUI?
Well, it's really interesting. People don't realize how bad it can affect them. If you are a commercial pilot, you can lose your pilot's license. If you are a recreation pilot, I'm a pilot also, and every 2 years I have to go and have a physical, and on my test, on my application, they ask if you've been arrested for DUI. I can lose my pilot's license. Oftentimes, your job requires you to drive for work, and it could be something as simple as, once, twice, 3 times a week you have to take mail and drop it off someplace else. Well, your employer may terminate you if you've been arrested for DUI. Plus, your insurance is going to go up, and there's a possibility you're going to lose your driver's license for 6 months to a year or longer. So it can be very inconvenient,
to say the least. And at what point in this process do you contact legal counsel?
Well, in California, you have 10 days from the day of arrest to notify DMV and require a DMV hearing. If you wait till the 11th day, you will automatically lose your driver's license. If you contact legal counsel, they still have to jump through several hoops, but they can make that appointment. It's a hearing, and preserve your right to argue as to whether you should lose your license or not. So if you're asking me when you should contact legal counsel, the sooner the better.
So day one, it sounds like, would be a good option.
Immediate, yes.
Yeah, day one. What exactly, you've already explained the immediate help that you can give to someone charged with DUI by making sure that they follow the right steps and don't automatically lose their license. What are other things that you can do for someone charged with a DUI?
Well, as we've talked, being arrested and put in jail, and you're left there for 8 hours basically in a drunk tank with a bunch of other people that have been drinking, and you get out of there, you're scared, you don't know what to do, and what talking to an attorney or hiring an attorney does is he's going to calm you down and say, look, this is what's going to happen, and here are some options, and this is what we can do to help you. So you're not running blindly. You now have somebody holding your hand and walking you through the process. Also, one of the things when you notify DMV, DMV has to provide you with all the evidence that the law enforcement officer has against you. So you get a copy of the police report, you get a copy of all the drug lab tests, your driving record that they have, and oftentimes the driving record they have can be incorrect. It could be another person with the same name. So it's very important that you have somebody that's making sure all the boxes are checked.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. I was, I don't want to out myself, but I was pulled over recently, not for anything serious. And the police officer noted to me that I didn't have my middle initial on my driver's license. And That's a huge deal. I didn't even realize how huge that is. So that would be something that your attorney could help you sort out, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And some of the other things that happen too is in the law, there's the most severe penalty, and then there's the least severe penalty, and the attorney can guide you through working with the DA. And let's say you actually were under the influence. Okay, well you've committed a misdemeanor, so the attorney can help with the charges. Some counties are deaf on DUI. They're going to prosecute you to the full max. Mm-hmm. And having an attorney can lessen that charge. Not going to make it go away, but we can lessen the consequences.
So even if you are charged with a DUI and you know that you were under the influence, it still can be helpful to bring an attorney into the picture.
Oh, I couldn't comprehend. It doesn't make sense. Even if you knew, if you're out partying and you're under the influence and you get pulled over, you still could, the attorney can still help you lessen the consequences.
Okay, great. And why, Travis? I think I know the answer to this because we've talked before, but I'd like you to share with us why you're the best person to help someone in this position. Well,
I'm a retired police officer, and like I mentioned earlier, I handled a lot of DUI cases. I know the games, and that's a sad thing to say, but I know the games that law enforcement and the DA's office plays, and I know how to combat the game playing. And plus, I'll talk to you for free. I mean, sometimes you don't need me.
Okay.
But other times it's important that you do talk to somebody.
So as a retired police officer or a former police officer, you and as you said earlier, specialized in DUIs from that perspective. And now on the other side, if you will, as legal consult, you can help brutally from both perspectives.
Yes. It's interesting. I've had officers up on the stand, and they start talking about the sobriety. I walked up to the car, I saw this, and this, and I'll say, isn't it pretty much that's your rubber stamp? That's what you say all the time, and isn't this what you do? Mm-hmm. Because I know that's what they did because I was in their position at one point.
Right.
So I think it puts me in a unique advantage that a lot of attorneys don't have.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if someone is interested in the free consultation, Travis, how do they make that happen? How do they reach you?
Well, there's a couple ways. One is you can go to my website, travisblackdui.com, and there is a pull down. There'll be a form you can actually fill out. The other thing you can do is you can call me at 916-962-2896, and we will have an attorney talk to you.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for educating us on the process of DUI, and hopefully we can avoid it. But, we know life happens, and sometimes you're going to be in that situation, and it's good to know that you're there to help.
Well, thank you for talking to me.
You bet. And you can follow us at Travis Black Law on Twitter, and you can join us on Facebook at facebook.com/Travis Black Law Show. Travis, one more time, thanks so much, and I look forward to talking with you again.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thanks for listening. To learn more about the Law Show Sacramento and to get access to more great podcasts, visit TravisBlackLaw.com. That's www.TravisBlackLaw.com.